Welcome. It's time for another episode of George's World, hosted by George Huntoon, also known as Local George. George brings you some of the most interesting people from all walks of life, from fascinating to funny. With George, you never know what to expect. Get ready, because when you step into George's world, there's never a dull moment. Now,
That's
your
true.
host, Local George.
All right. Very exciting. Episode number 2. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week for another episode of George's World. We are super excited because I have superstar, reality star, and lawyer extraordinaire, Miss Erica Rose, and her husband, Chuck Sanders, both from Houston. They were super nice enough to come in and meet with us in the studio. So those of you listening, some people, may not be sure who's Erica and Chuck. Those that are, have saw them most recently on the episodes of Below Deck. And then prior, Erica's been on a few other reality shows, most notable Bachelor, and was on an episode of Dr. Phil, but super interesting. And of course, these last 2 weeks have been kind of crazy with some of the, talk about, the last 2 episodes of Below Deck. But today I want to definitely jump in and kind of get to know you guys. I know a lot of people, more of a behind the scenes, a lot of people don't really get to know who Erica Rose is and Chuck is. And real quick, so where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in Houston, Memorial.
Nice. Went to Memorial High School?
Yes,
Okay,
went to
cool.
Memorial High.
And then where'd you go to undergrad after that?
I went to undergrad at Emory University in Atlanta.
Nice.
And then lived in LA for a while. Yeah. Came back here for law school, University of Houston Law Center. And then got my master's of entertainment media law out in LA at Southwestern. Then moved back.
That's very cool. Now, how about you, Chuck? Did you grow up, where'd you grow up here in town?
Houston.
But he was born in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. From up north then. What age were you when you came to Houston?
4.5.
Okay, cool. Very nice. So you've been here a while then.
Yeah.
And all right, Erica, so you grew up here and then you had gone to school and then you came back to Houston, I'm assuming, and then that's when the Bachelor opportunity kind of came along.
Yeah, so I graduated from Emory. I was back in Houston. I was actually reporting on a show called Wild About Houston with Lara Bell and Jan Glenn at the time. It was on Channel 55, which was owned by Don Ilaf, which some people don't know, but that's Joel Osteen's brother-in-law, his wife, Victoria's brother.
Really?
Yeah, and so it was a really cool experience. And then I went through a breakup. My dad saw in the Chronicle about The Bachelor and he said, why don't you go do that? So I went down with a couple of my girlfriends. It was at the ABC station, and everything happened from there.
And you had to do an audition?
Yeah, we had to do an audition. There were so many women that we auditioned in groups of 5. And then a couple days later, there was a callback in Houston. And then it took about a month before they contacted me to fly out to LA. And that's when they just fly out a select amount of people. And you meet with all the producers. You're there for 2 days. It's a really big process.
Now, in high school, were you pretty outgoing? Were you in any activities? Were you outgoing? Were people oh, she's pretty? What was that like?
Yeah, I was into everything in high school. I ran track. I played tennis. Was on the tennis team. I also did a lot of theater. They called it varsity theater. So I was on varsity theater.
Were you in any plays or anything like that?
I was in the Crucible.
Okay.
Played one of the bitchiest girl, actually.
Right.
Mercy Lewis. But I was into a lot. I did youth and government too. So we did a lot of mock trials. And that's when I first got into, I guess, the idea of being a lawyer as well.
Right. So you were pretty active. You were outgoing. And so you kind of had that personality. And
yeah, I was friends with everyone. I was also on KSA, which was Keeping Spirit Alive, basically for people that wanted to be cheerleaders that weren't gymnastically talented.
Right,
so,
right.
But we did all the pep rallies. It was a really fun high school and a really fun time to be in high school, I think.
That's awesome. Okay, that's very cool. And then how about you, Chuck? Were you in activities, in high school or in high school? Any sports, anything like that?
No, I mean I played football in 8th grade.
Okay, same here. And then after that, I retired.
That, it's like, no. I mean, I didn't. There's really nothing. I didn't have a very stellar high school academic credentials.
I didn't. I tell everyone I can out F grade you, and I had the absolute worst grade. A lot of people, that's George trivia. They don't know, but yeah, you and I were a lot alike there.
He made good grades, so he got into A&M.
Well, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I know, another Aggie right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's well, it's like me. I should have been held back, and I didn't. You know, I'm just smart, but
I was held back actually.
Oh,
For some reason, my parents made a decision that the education in Texas, like they thought for some reason, me coming from the New York school system,
Right.
was 50 times better than anything that Texas could ever produce.
right.
They thought for some reason I'd be. For some reason,
Well,
they
he's
had to
a
hold
late
me
May
back.
birthday.
Me
for
too.
a Gemini.
That's
He's a Gemini.
That explains it all. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, we're insane, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I was. It was a late birth. That's the same deal.
That's
That's
funny.
interesting.
At least
We're
I
like-
have a nickname so I could put the two personalities with different people.
okay, there you go.
I could have Chuck's different than Charles.
Now, what about hobbies? Chuck, were you an outdoors? I mean, do you like to hunt or fish or exercise?
I mean, number one, the reason why I can't fish is my voice is too loud.
Okay.
Scared to fish.
right.
So no one catches any fish when Chuck's around. When
Right.
I'm around, I understand.
Okay.
When I do fish, it's like everyone's like,
Right.
He likes to watch a lot of college football.
Oh, okay. So you like the college football? Nice.
And then he likes to work out. Like we go to the Houstonian. But we actually met in high school. He was my friend's date to our junior girls formal. But yeah, we were so different in high school, as
Right.
you could probably tell, because I was just super active into everything, and he was just more into hanging out, I guess.
So y'all went to high school together.
Well, I went to Memorial, and he started out at Lamar. Then he finished. Then his parents sent him to boarding school. He finished somewhere else at a private school.
Nice.
she's just spilling the beans. Thank you for answering for me. Yes.
Right. Well, that's cool.
Whatever.
So, okay. So, you're on The Bachelor. You get a taste of this reality. And actually, that's, reality show was still kind of evolving at that time, even though it was coming up. Who knew where it would get today?
Yeah.
With this. And then you thought, hey, I might need to go live in LA. This is kind of cool.
Well, the reason I wanted to go live in LA, number one, is like I said, I was reporting on my local show. Part of the reason I thought, okay, this is going to be good exposure. It will help me to do hosting nationally. That was always my goal. And then also the scrutiny was negative in Houston. That was before social media was really big.
Oh, wow.
Besides for Facebook, that was it. And so I was getting hate mail. My parents were even getting hate mail. And people here did not understand reality TV. They didn't. Sometimes they still don't. They don't understand that it's not.
That's what I'm dealing with right now.
100%
Right.
real.
And, that is something
we do online social media defamation.
Right. Oh,
As
man.
an
Oh, do
attorney.
you
I need you. Yeah.
So basically, in Texas, you have to send a request for retraction.
Yeah.
And, so we sell letters, and I tell them, I can't get, you want to do this, but I can't guarantee the guy's going to retract
Right,
the statement. So this person happened to, I sent it out back August.
Right.
He comments on one of my YouTube videos, oh, you're cheap. I'm getting my money back. We'll see about this.
Right.
Yeah, he's watching the below
Watching
deck.
the show, and now that's what.
Yeah,
below-
And I called
Which is
the
crazy.
bank, and I called my company.
That's what he's dealing with right
And
now.
I'm just like, hey, this is what's about to happen. Here's what I did. Blah blah blah. Doesn't matter. It's like, but I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win in the end. That's what happened when I
That's
walked
the
up.
thing that blows my mind right now is how. And that was the other thing I was saying. Yes, the producers can edit and clip stuff to make their narrative, on these
Exactly.
shows.
Whatever they want.
Whatever
Yeah.
they want. And, on the below deck, I'm sure there was some stuff, but then the crazy thing is the crazies come out of the woodwork.
Oh my gosh. And
I was nervous about doing this show because what if I say one little thing and it's,
Yeah.
The next thing you know, there's 17,000 vomit emoji messages on your Instagram.
And I have been canceled before. I made one comment on someone's TikTok video, and the girl doxed me.
my gosh.
Made a video. I mean, it was, because I'm online just like you are. And it was, and I was like, oh man, I need a lawyer.
It's
on
crazy.
This. But, so yeah, how do you?
Well, this is the first types of visual reactions I'm personally experiencing because, like I said on The Bachelor, it was more in the mail or by word of mouth. But when I
Right.
moved to LA, people totally got it. I'd be at Walgreens, CVS, and come up to me and be like, this one person's like, I was with the Tisch Academy, in acting. I just want to say you're a great actress.
Right.
actually signed with the character acting agency. So the point is, like, people got it out there. So I just felt like I'd rather be like a medium-sized fish in a big pond like LA. I didn't want to be like a big fish in a judgmental type of pond.
The pandemic happened, and the entire world is forced into their house.
Oh, right. And TikTok became famous because
it's like all of social media now. It's almost like a form beyond a form. It's like a whole different world that you have to have an image in too. So it's not enough to like have a regular life. You have to have like a social media life.
Right.
And then when people spend so much time on social media during the pandemic when they were locked in their house, it just became like people have nothing else to do.
Is this the worst? The blowback you've had over the past year, is this the worst that you've had? And you know what? Even though I've been in the political world, I still have thin skin. I mean, I want to fight everyone.
I have thin skin
you have thick skin. Thick skin.
I have thick skin to a point.
To a point. You're right. But it hurts your feelings.
Well, what I don't like is when people don't post as themselves. They have a picture of their cat or their dog. I just did a TikTok about this, but it's like, don't come to me with a picture. We have a cat and a dog, but like, don't make a profile.
At least now that I know
pets.
what that problem is stemming from, I got it under control.
Right.
But I don't like it when someone wants to come and write a negative comment and they're not identifying themselves.
Oh yeah, that's what I call cyber terrorist. I mean, the keyboard terrorist.
And they're always like hiding behind a picture of their animal, and they're like, man. Like,
the worst is when I never gotten messages where people are threatening me and talking trash, and they're not even letting me message them back.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's double stuff.
Man, I know it, and and it really translates into like our kids. I mean, the bullying online in school. I mean, this is a bad.
It just makes it worse. Right?
I mean, half the time, a lot of them, what they really want to hear, they ask me, so what should I do? One thing I never do is I never send any requests for retractions for kids in high school. I'm like, I'm not going to do that to a kid.
Right.
Because his parent wants me to.
I think this is a huge sector of law right now.
Nobody else, like this, like yesterday, we're getting calls from Georgia and Minnesota, and I'm like, why don't you call a Minnesota lawyer?
If you get into that niche of defending people that get doxxed online, what if this? You'd be,
especially because we experience it
like
as well.
Right. Without giving it all away, we're all public figures here on this radio show.
Right.
So basically, anything could be said about us.
Correct.
I mean, as you see, this tip became a public issue of public concern.
Right.
I mean, so ultimately, really, all we could really do is defend ourselves if people try to sue us for defamation.
Well, they wouldn't sue us for defamation.
Just defend people for getting sued.
I'm one of these people. I believe everyone gets a second chance. I mean, we all make mistakes. Yeah. I mean, I always tell people I'm the least perfect person in the world.
He always says that.
Not worse than me.
He always says I'm not perfect.
But you know what? I'm the guy that wants to be there when someone's at their work, when no one wants, and that's where my kids are. They're friends with people that when no one else would be their friend at the end, they're still there.
Mm-hmm.
But
you know what? I would rather have a few real friends than a bunch of fake ones.
Yeah.
Well,
but I mean, you're a human being too.
Right.
I mean, it hurts your feelings.
It's been hard. Like, I mean, we're so busy in a positive way that this week's been great. So I've gotten out of it.
Luckily, I figured out a way to make positive out of this whole thing. I mean, that's fine.
One thing I've noticed, if I had it, because as many times as I've been through these crises, media crises, is I have noticed that it's so horrible in the moment, and you think, oh man. But as 1 week goes by, 2 weeks, as you see in our news cycles, I mean, there will be some national or geopolitical crisis, and then a week later, you're like, wait a minute, they stopped bombing. What happened to so and so? I thought they were being, that kind of.
Yeah, as soon as Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, everyone's like, look what happened now. No one's going to be talking about you guys anymore.
This is a great question. So, this is the question this week, right? And so the question is Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Ooh, I got a bunch of interesting. I've been talking. I just talking about
real or fake. So, Erica, do you think it was real, or do you think it was fake?
Oh, that was real.
At first, I was like wondering, was it staged? Because so much in Hollywood is, and it's always hard to know. It just is. It's always hard to know what's a publicity stunt, what is real.
Here's the thing, though.
Well, hold on. So we'll finish up what your thought. Real or
there was the raw emotion behind it, but at the same time, these people are actors. So I feel like it could go either way. If it was real, I could understand what he was upset about because his wife has openly struggled with alopecia, but then again, it's almost too perfect of a storyline, you know?
Yeah. No, I think it was real, but it just
think it was
coincidental.
real, yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm officially in. Well, I shouldn't say officially in fake camp. I am more
Alan's
fake than
he's
real.
a good conspiracy guy. He kinda,
I'm into that stuff too.
I'm always skeptical, but it's like, so Will Smith's laughing at the joke when Chris Rock says it, and then he slaps. Okay, go ahead, Chuck. What you got?
I saw she made this look
Jada.
at him,
Okay.
and she basically said, "You do something."
Right.
So that's why he did it. And I know because she literally could direct my like crazy energy all over the place. So
Yeah,
she'd be like, yell at
like, if
him, and I
someone
start
talks shit
yelling.
about me,
she
go
could,
do that.
Chuck
like
would've
get
done
me
it.
all riled up
Yeah.
and have me trying to fight you right now. So I understand why. And I think he's very insecure because this is the first time I've ever seen Will Smith variate from his perfect image in his entire life.
Right.
So that says that just okay. Everyone's human. Everybody.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
everybody's perfect.
Exactly. And people, like a lot of people do not want forgiveness. Like they don't want to accept. And people are like, apologize. I'm like, for what?
Right.
For what? You know what I mean? We were not that horrible. Like, move on with your lives.
How long were y'all in Spain for that trip?
So we were only on the yacht for less than 48 hours.
That's it.
That's it. My friends that have chartered yachts are like, 6,500 is not.
Yeah,
a bad
everybody
tip.
comes up and be like, "Wow, that was a big tip. I can't believe they're complaining." And
You
a lot of people
dropped
come up and
thought
say
you
the
were on
food
there
looked disgusting.
Yeah, I
and
thought
they're
you were on there
saying
like a
that's
week.
cheap. No, less than 48 hours, and we paid to charter the yacht. It's not like for free.
And that's
like,
why I'm quoted as saying,
we
"This food
upgraded
is
our
disgusting.
airfare.
I'm sitting here losing money eating this disgusting food."
Yeah.
$6,500 tip for 48 hours.
And they were still saying that's the worst tip in below deck history. And what we're not allowed to say is that.
And that's why the article. That's why the article came out that says Charles Sanders is worth millions of dollars as a personal injury lawyer and left. Tip. Thank you, everybody thank you, Bravo, for giving me so much business. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'm glad I gave you guys ratings.
Right, well,
Thank
that's
you.
true. You're right. I mean,
So in the end, everybody should be very happy with me because
yeah.
everybody got what they want. Everybody
Rob,
got tons of ridiculous, stupid
there
attention for
hasn't
no
been,
reason.
Their episodes do have a lot of followers, but they were like, "Oh, thank God, thanks, Jay."
I was blown away that there was a podcast on below. Like
Oh, is that when they were laughing at me saying, how could people go on your website because they hate your health business? I'm like, keep clicking, guys.
I saw that,
Yeah,
and I
that
was
guy-
like,
those guys were
I told
off the
Alan, I'm
hook.
like, I don't want to be like that, man. Those guys, they're going for the whole shock jock thing. I'm like, I'm not
I
going to
felt like saying you guys are on a podcast for a reality TV show, brothers. I don't even think it's on the radio.
Right.
And I know
It's not.
No, they're sitting.
Like
on the couch.
I really this is 2022.
I'll fight those guys.
I'll be too busy advocating for my clients. What do y'all do? My question to that podcast is, what do you guys do the entire year where there's no below deck? Do you rerun them, or you just make up crap to talk about?
Yeah, we'll have a show host.
And this, I also want to say this. That this goes out to. I read an article where Captain Glenn, last week, said that me and Erica should have been on a bigger boat. If we couldn't we should have been on a smaller boat. The problem is that's the smallest boat.
Now let me. I think.
So
I can't
what
remember.
boat should we have gone on that smaller
Did
Captain
they
Glenn?
have-
If
some
he
of
was
those-
a better seaman and boatman, maybe Bravo would elevate him to have a bigger boat.
He is a seaman.
Who is he to me? Who is for me? Who is him? Who is he to tell me I should have been on a smaller boat?
Well, let me ask you this.
That was the smallest boat in Bravo's. The Bravo has.
So let me ask you guys this. What was
I've
your
been meaning to
genuine,
respond back to
what was
that. I
your
don't wanna
genuine
type it out.
reaction when y'all walked up on the boat and you said, "Okay, this is our boat"?
Yeah.
Because when you go on a cruise, you always
It's
have
pretty
that
cool.
reaction.
It's pretty
I
cool.
had been on
Was
it
it?
the year before.
That same boat.
The same one
that's
with my
right, I remember.
girlfriends, and I walked up smiling, happy, ready to have a good experience.
I walked up smiling, happy, and I thought it was cool. They just didn't show any of that.
But yeah, it kind of went downhill from there. And I didn't know that Daisy had any issues with me.
I didn't even know who Daisy was
from last
until
year.
until
She's like one
the
of
show aired.
the girls that works on the boat.
I don't
It's
know
like
that
cast of
she's-
the show.
She's not really that nice either.
No,
she doesn't
she's
come off
not.
well, I don't
Plus,
think.
Bravo, I don't
They
know. They
want
might
the
have filmed
snack.
more of them, but they edited all their stuff out because they were like, "Oh, this is the good stuff."
And then
Yeah.
it's funny, the first episode, I was working out for 2 or 3 months before.
Right.
And, like if you look at the first episode, I had muscles and body definition, but the second episode, just this big blob of fat.
Yeah, I think
I didn't think they could really do that.
To make us look
like,
fat, seriously.
Well, they had a couple bikini shots of you on there.
Yeah, and everyone's like, you lost weight since then. I'm like, I was the same size. I just think they didn't want to catch good angles. I don't know.
I thought you looked pretty good.
I was going to say, Chuck.
Not me. They got my jaw. They got basically.
Well, that's even makes you look better because I'm like, man, Chuck got this hot chick right here. He's pretty good.
They're showing me like the worst angle. And then there's this one picture where they're like, Rhett's the MVP, and he's sitting there talking on the phone. There's a picture of me like this. But what you don't realize is I'm schlepping Cindy's luggage through a little thing. Where was the crew helping with the luggage? You have to zoom in on the picture, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm schlepping luggage.
So 2 days on that day. Now, I know on those bigger, did they have like wave runner?
No.
They didn't have any of those toys.
We did water sports though.
It was basically it was basically like a booze cruise for 2 days.
I mean, yeah, we did water sports. My friend Haley and I did. That part's in there, but it's not like the big mega yacht.
The weirdest thing is sitting there getting drunk, and the next thing you know, there's a drone right there.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, they have a drone that I kind of knew this was going to happen because after 30 minutes on the boat, it was just following me around the entire time. At the beginning where I start talking to that lady, what they don't show you is me helping her hang up her clothes.
Right. Now, on all those shows, do people have to be invited to, or any of those charter guests? They obviously, they're wealthy people going on there. They obviously know they're going to be on this reality show, I guess. So there's people that want to charter boats. They're like, I'm not into that.
Yeah.
But everyone that does it kind of knows, hey, this
of course. Yeah, and then you have to go through a casting process. It's
So I can't just call there today and be like, hey, I want to be on.
I'm sure they would welcome you, but they just submit it. The network approves. Really? So. I have friends that had told me that they had tried and, got a response like, okay, it will be a couple of years. So it just depends.
Really?
But
if they're like, oh, man, we can get some, we got another Chuck and Eric on here.
The only way George would go on the boat is if they let him bring his dog.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like,
what type of dog?
I got a little Australian Shepherd, peppermint.
And I also think, I also question, the conduct and the safetiness of the way the boat is actually operated.
Yeah.
Because, when you can't just put a sail up by the way, I will say, they definitely struggled to put the sail up. They had definitely are not. They definitely it's not as coordinated as you think.
I hear you.
And then out of nowhere, so you don't tell anyone on the boat, and you just put the sail up so the whole boat goes 90-degree angle.
Oh my God!
That is why. So basically, they should be mad at Captain Glenn for intentionally putting the boat up and not telling
Is
anyone.
that normal? I thought, oh my God.
Like the year before,
hey, you realize, I think
the
because you do sign an indemnity waiver, but I don't know one state where you could waive your negligence in a document.
Falling and stuff,
and I'm
thinking,
it's a lot. It's intense.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I think the mega yachts are better because it's not for the adventure enthusiasts, which I'm truly not.
I think the next episode they ran across something because they had the divers looking at the bottom of the.
Yeah, he bent the prop. He bent the propeller. Probably didn't read the depth finder and probably bent the propeller.
You know what? I just had an idea. I bet if we all call, we'll do George's World, Erica and Chuck, and we'll get a couple of our other crazy fans, and we'll call Bravo and be like, we're ready to do the big boat.
We're on. It's on.
Yeah, we should do
Radio World, YouTube World. Click like on this YouTube channel
Captain
if you want to
Sandy or
solve.
Captain Lee.
I know.
Never be the same. We take that boat down, George.
Oh man, that would be cool.
Who cares about taking the boat down? It doesn't even bother me.
Actually, you know what? Forget below deck. We'll go get our own charter yacht and do our own reality show.
They did add a comment when I'm like, Erica, when we get a yacht, it's going to be bigger than this.
I wish.
And number one, I don't really have a desire because you know how expensive to maintain one of those yachts is probably.
It's better to rent a boat.
$20 million a year probably to have that boat.
Oh yeah, that's why I say don't own a boat. Know someone that owns a boat.
Exactly.
Been there.
Now, what about...
and don't have a boat with a bathroom because someone's going to go on there and take it. And you're going to have to clean
that's
it.
really gross.
Right. Erica, now, what about you? What hobbies are you into? I mean, have you done,
now?
Yeah.
I got certified as a yoga.
But growing up, did you ever ride horses?
Yeah, I did. I rode horses to an extent. Then my parents thought it was too dangerous.
Right.
But...
How about fishing? You ever been fishing?
My dad's from Colorado, so he used to take us fishing and fly fishing. I'm super into snow skiing.
Oh, you like
we have a place
skiing?
out there.
Oh, where do you snow ski?
In Aspen.
Oh,
nice.
Love it. Nice.
We named our youngest daughter Aspen,
That's
actually.
Right.
After the town.
Now I got to ask, because all the ski fans, the next question is, Greens, blues, blacks.
No, I'm like a black skier. When I was younger, more double blacks.
No,
but
man, she's awesome.
yeah,
Nice.
I placed in like this NASCAR ski racing when I was like 10 or something.
How about snowboard? You try
I
that?
never have,
No, I
but
haven't.
I'm a really big yogi now, and so I feel like my balance has gotten good.
That's right.
And my older daughter really wants to try boarding, so maybe.
Okay. So
Maybe.
did you put them in ski school? They kind of
Yeah,
getting that now?
we put them in ski school.
Isn't that the cutest thing?
Yeah, and it's cute because our daughter Aspen keeps telling me she wants to go back and ski. So I might go back and before the season ends. I think he has to go down to our McAllen office. So at the same
Oh
time.
yeah, I'm like so happy about that. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So,
You know, Michael Berry's always in Aspen, man. You
Oh,
so,
really?
Connect up there. But everyone's in Aspen if you're someone.
yeah,
right?
if you're
We
in
need to
Houston, a
get
lot
to
of
Aspen.
Houstonians comes there
All
too.
right. I know a lot of big time. Yeah, I know the big timers. Yeah, everyone's there. That's where I need to go. Up there.
I'm more like doing Ski Apache and Ruidosa.
I think I want to go. I think I want
I
to start going to
I don't
Vail
even
because
make
too
it.
many people go to Aspen. I don't want to see all the same
a lot
people
of
that I
people.
see here there.
Yeah,
That's true.
Beaver Creek's
There's about a million of the same thing.
Okay,
It's just a
so
big
now
mountain.
you're into yoga now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I became certified. I did this yoga immersion at We Thrive, so I'm like certified to teach yoga now.
Really?
It's kind of like a hobby thing, but I also love it. It's very transformative.
It's
Physically,
so good
mentally.
for your mental
Yeah,
and physical.
it's so good for like mental
I
and
need to
physical
do that.
health. Like if a few days go by, and I haven't made it to the studio. Like the last yoga class I did, I think was Sunday. I'm like, okay, I need to get some yoga in. It's not like other workouts are just not the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's killer.
I love it.
I know. I've been wanting to try that, but they have all the hot rock one. And,
Yeah.
and all that stuff like that.
Does Chuck do yoga?
I've taken him.
I mean,
I've taken him.
it's fun, but
Yeah.
it's not like it's not taking me to my special island.
Right.
He's gotten kicked out of a yoga studio.
It's just
before.
not like I'm still searching
Now,
for that thing because it's exercising. I could work out constantly and I'm still stressed out. I could do as much. I'm still trying to figure out what takes you to that. Like I
For
said,
me, it's
I don't know.
yoga, but
I'm in
it's
the
hot yoga,
constant
fast
search,
yoga.
yeah.
It's not like rolling. It's not the Zen yoga. The yoga I do is
Okay.
power yoga. It's called Baptiste Power Yoga. So like it's so fast. It's such a fast flow that you don't have time to be in your mind because you won't be keeping up with it if you're caught up in your head. And so that's what I like about it.
You know what? I bet you there's enough fans out because you know I
when she puts it that way, I guess, yeah.
There's people out there that hate us, and there's people that love you and know you're a good person too. I'll bet you if you're listening, we're gonna have Erica Rose do a celebrity yoga class.
Yeah, guys, come.
And
come
I'll put it
to my
together.
yoga.
But it's not free.
Well,
Everybody.
no, of course not. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm always like helping people. I'm also a certified life coach.
She's
People
been-
always
she's
reaching
like-
out to me for free.
Like
I'm
for years, it's like, here you go, Erica. Take a post of this cream
Right,
I've never
right.
heard
Yeah,
of.
no.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't she getting money
No,
for
you're
this?
right. But
That's
it's all
true.
part of a building, bigger
But
picture
yeah,
process.
I do want to start doing the yoga.
I'm going to do a George's World VIP listener yoga class, and I'm going to I'll pay her good money, and we'll come in and we'll do a cool
Oh, you
yoga
guys don't have
class.
to. I'm talking
Yes,
about like
let's do
regular
it.
people that want to pay for
No,
these.
I know,
the
but
class.
that's
and
the
we
thing. We're
could
gonna have
like
to
raise
fancy-
money for like a mental health
Oh,
awareness
there you
charity or
go.
something like that.
That would be cool
I
too.
think that'd be cool.
I'm down with that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
A,
Because
a charity yoga.
Because there's
Yeah.
people that like you and think you're cool. I mean, my kids are like, oh, Erica Rose.
How old
that's
are
so
your
cool."
kids?
So Hannah's 17 and Lila is 15.
Oh,
now.
so you have two daughters just
Yeah,
like
you know,
us.
and I was going to tell y'all too. So I came up with this phrase. You know, people are always like, "Oh, you can have a boy," or I said, "No, I love having daughters." The reason why is these days they can pretty much do everything boys can, and they smell a whole hell of a lot better. Everything's always pink and
Yeah,
pretty, smells
exactly.
good.
And they say that, I mean, not in every situation, but they say that when the daughter gets married, the father starts. Hold on, wait a minute. So I always heard something like, when you fall and break your hip when you're 80 years old, it's your daughters that'll be there, not
That's
your sons.
true.
Because your
Wow.
sons are.
Except him because he's
Except-
super close with his mom.
I know. Chuck, we're the
He's a
same.
mama's boy,
Chuck
yeah.
and I are so alike because my mom and dad, you know, are older now, and I'm always going up there and taking care of them. I don't want to say my sisters aren't; they'll be like, "George, you're crazy." But you're right. I do. Boys love their moms, but those
My
little
girls
girls
love me too. Yeah.
I was going
I'm
to
a
say,
girl
Erica,
mom.
now, how, because you have a daughter, right?
Two.
Yeah,
Because I
two.
remember that Dr. Phil update, and
my
like you've
God.
got
Oh,
that
God,
cute
I
little
watched that
baby.
yesterday.
That's a
That
long
was
time
horrible,
ago,
Dr.
right?
Phil update.
Yeah, I know. So Holland's 5.5, and then Aspen's 3.5.
Right.
Oh, wow.
It's funny, it was actually filmed at the time when I was working for Gallagher Bassett across the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
That other
town.
Dr. Phil update.
Yeah.
There's been
Yeah.
two.
Like, I would just pull in, just go to that parking lot.
Yeah. So that's awesome having daughters.
Yeah,
And-
I love them.
Yeah,
They're so
and it's good that you're
fun.
close with them because I mean, you never know which way, but yeah, my wife is solid, good relationship with them, but you know, that's the thing with the social media too.
Yeah, I don't like when people bring up like, oh, I feel sorry for your kids. I'm like, they weren't on the trip. We were gone a total of about 4 to 5 days.
That's just people now. People that go there. Those are just what you call internet Hercules.
It has no reflection on parenting. At all.
Now, are both
Literally
your parents in town? I know yours are. Yes. So if people don't know, Erica Rose, her dad is the famous plastic surgeon, Dr. Franklin Rose. And I always got to say, too, I also have this great, I knew he was going to be vet, Dr. Manny Gallus, plastic surgeon out in Katy. I love you. You're great, too. But I'm sure you're friends with Dr. Franklin Rose. But so your parents are here in town. Are your kids, are they close with their grandparents? Do they go hang out over there?
They're so close with my parents, especially because we stayed with them when we went back from LA. Holland and I did, and loved it. Yeah. And then Chuck's mom's really involved in their life too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
they're happy
for
that
sure.
Kids like that.
Yeah.
Now, you know I'm going to Spain next week, right?
Oh, you are? What part are you going?
I'm going to Barcelona.
Really?
For a sales gig, and I was wondering, when y'all went to Spain, how difficult was it to get in the country?
So that's the only cool thing about it is that when you go through below deck, they organize all that for you. Okay. So that was the best part. We had to bring our vaccine cards, and that was a Bravo requirement, and you had to get tested, I think, within 48 hours.
Yes.
Of going.
And that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, that was it.
And so you don't really have to worry about a lot of the
travel
logistics.
That was the nicest part about it, was that their travel coordinators arranged that.
That's fascinating. So if on the radio, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Erica Rose and Chuck Sanders, her husband. So a question I have, going back in time to their LA days.
Yeah.
How was that? I mean, was that you were young?
So fun.
Were you going to clubs and seeing some stuff? So
everything.
Who was the coolest person you got to hang out with?
I mean, I met a lot of celebrities. I was invited to the Inception premiere.
Nice.
With Leonardo DiCaprio was there, everyone. Oh, yeah. But also I got a job at Paramount Pictures. I was a page.
Really?
And I didn't like to advertise about it just because, I don't know, we had to wear these really ugly uniforms and give VIP tours of the lot. But a lot of shows were filming on the Paramount Pictures lot, Nip Tuck, just different things. So I would run into legit A-list celebrities. At one point, I saw
on the
George
Paramount
Clooney.
Pictures
on
lot.
The lot every day. Wow. So I saw a lot of celebs.
Did they tell you at the beginning, hey, look, you got to be cool?
Yeah,
this is your job.
Yeah, you had to be cool. But sometimes as I was young, I mean, I was 23, so of course there were times I got starstruck. And then as I got older, I realized that a lot of really big celebrities like you to pretend like you don't know them. Yeah. So I remember one time I was walking my dog in the Grove, and Adam Sandler was there with his kid, and he's like, "Look, it's a woof woof," and I'm just like, "Hey," and I ran into my dog was attracting all these celebrities. I was hiking Runyon Canyon, and my favorite guy from Clueless, he was Elton on Clueless. He had the same dog, and he was like, "Is that a Cavalier Spaniel or just a King Charles Spaniel?" So that was my everyday life. I was invited to a lot of really big red carpet events, which was so fun.
What about the after part, at people's houses?
Yeah, we went to a lot of after parties with famous celebs. Well, I'm married now. I've been still invited to red carpets. The last one I did was in Dallas, but it's harder to get away,
You see, the ex got a red carpet. The husband doesn't.
my ex, he lived in LA, so there was still things going on.
What about wasn't the Hills or
the Hills was
did
really
you ever
big.
Run into any of those guys?
Because I moved to these apartments, the Palazzo, and a bunch of the girls on the Hills lived there.
Really?
And so we went out with Brody Jenner.
No way.
At the time. I mean, not dated. Went out at a club with. One of my girlfriends was friends with him, so we hung out with all those people. And it was normal. It was but that was early 20s. But all of that was a normal.
Was there some hard partying behind the scenes? I mean, were there
not with them? I have to say, not specifically with them, but at other house parties with famous DJs. I'm not going to call any, but of course there was. Yeah. I mean, I was invited to a lot of parties at the Playboy Mansion, and that was a fun time back then because this was
So you've been?
I've been to the mansion. Yeah, I met Hugh when he was alive.
No
Rest
kidding.
his soul. But we met a lot of celebrities there, Pauly Shore, older guys used to hang out there.
Right.
So I went to their Halloween party. I went to their Midsummer Night's Dream, and this was probably 2008, 2009, back when it was like the girls next door era, like when Playboy was still like the coolest thing, and it was fun. Yeah. So it was a really like legendary time. I feel like I have so many stories more than just like everyone.
You have the look.
Yeah.
So when you're walking around, people
they
are probably
did
like,
actually approach me to be in Playboy. This was when I was 25 and in law school.
Interesting.
And I went out to Chicago because that's where it was to do like the.
Oh, so you actually were like, let me check this out?
I was considering it. I was hiding it from my dad, but my mom knew about it.
You would have been huge because you got the lawyer, the reality.
Yeah, they were
and
doing
they want
that.
They want the smart lawyer.
But my dad basically threatened
Thank
to
God
cut me
that
off.
she did not go and show her boobs on
Oh,
TV.
so your dad was
found
like,
out.
this is
So
not
this
good.
is the
No one is.
craziest
She's not going to be anywhere near.
So
she wouldn't
I
be
would've-
anywhere as interesting.
I would have been able to keep it a secret, but
If everybody's
this was
seen it,
during
then there's no point of
Hurricane
looking at you
Ike.
anymore.
This was during Hurricane Ike,
during
and
Ike,
so my dad called me and he's like, "Where are you? Like, we all need to evacuate." You know, I was my 1L, first year of law school. I was like, "Oh, I'm in Chicago."
And he's like, "What are you?"
And he's like, "What are you up to there?" I'm like, "I'm visiting Clifton." That was one of my friends from high school, and I guess he got it out of my mom what I was really up to, and then we all like evacuated to Colorado, and he was like haggling me the whole time about it, and he's like, "Why do you want to show your vagina to the world?" I'm like, "I don't," but it would have been
And they
cool.
don't show that in Playboy.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Did they ever throw any numbers by? Like, what is something
No,
like that?
so
pay?
the
Like
thing
a-
is that honestly, they offered me like kind of a cyber thing first, not the real one after. And so I was like, okay, I think I probably wouldn't have turned down like a real thing, even if my dad's bitching was happening. But financially, it wasn't as good of an incentive of what they offered versus him threatening to like actually cut me off, like for real.
Right.
And it was awkward because I grew up around a lot of like playmates and penthouse pets with my dad and his job. So it's kind of like, Dad, you always thought these women were so cool.
That's like
you know?
kind of hypocritical.
Yeah,
frankly.
but I
to do.
guess
He's
he wanted
dealing
different with me.
Yeah, you're.
Would you want?
No one wants their daughter.
That's what I was just about to
Yeah.
say. No one wants to. Like, would you want your daughter to do it?
And all my guy friends in law school, I was like, "What do you guys think?" They're like, "Yes, do it!" Like, and they were all super
I mean,
supportive
I think that
of it.
the best thing she ever did is not do it because I don't
knows?
think any man
A lot
would
of them have had great.
I
don't
think she would
know.
have lost respect.
Not in LA, like a lot of
Not
them.
in LA,
went on
here
to-
she would have.
A lot of even the cyber ones, like
weird
Heather
people.
Ray Young, now El Musa, like she went on to Selling Sunset. Like,
She was on.
yeah, she was a cyber playmate. A lot of girls.
There's
Jade,
naked pictures of her on the internet.
somewhere out there.
Why would you want a bunch of guys off to you? That's what I don't understand.
Well, your body's never going to be the same as it was when you're
Right.
24, 25. That's just the truth.
You know,
So that's one thing.
back in high.
oh,
Look,
Oh, my
Chuck
God.
spills water all over.
You know what, Chuck?
The
I'm the
radio
same
station's
way.
like
Having a
burning
day.
up.
I was-
Chuck spills.
Today's
It's okay.
just
You're
not
fine.
his
You're
day.
fine.
And he got a lot of sleep last night, which is the weird
But
thing.
you know, in high school, I was the only one with the camera, and this is back when no cell phone. And I was taking pictures down at spring break, the beach, and all these girls we were friends
Right.
with, and they're they're super hot. And then
Yeah.
now today, I'm like, you should be proud of these.
Yeah.
I would want to be able to show, hey, this is what I look like.
I still did the girls of reality TV calendar, so there's some cute bikini pics, and they are not showing everything, which is
Right.
good. But yeah, your body, I don't care what, you can go get surgery, whatever you want, you're still not going to be the same as you were in your high school. And I think my time was like early 20s. Some girls I know like peaked in high school, and then you
Right.
see them now. But some of them look great still. But sometimes you're like, oh, okay, girl.
I know.
You
Don't age
know.
well. I know. I know. I keep thinking I need to go to like either plastic somewhere and get some good. I need to take better care of my skin. I'm getting older. You know, I need
Yeah,
to get
it's
that
crazy.
youthy look, you know.
I used to like not have like when we were younger. It's like you just use a Neutrogena wipe. That was it.
Right.
Now it's like there's whole skincare routine, all this stuff.
All right, so before we run out of time, so one of the coolest things I heard you say on there, legally mom.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so behind this. Okay, so
Okay.
she's been wanting. Erica's talked about being like the next Judge Judy or something. You know, she's
Right.
a lawyer. You know, she's smart. She's I think Erica's got. Anyway, she came over the term legally mom, which I think, oh my God, that would be a killer.
Yeah.
As long as you tell people whoever thought orange was the new pink is seriously disturbed. As long as she quotes that line from the movie, I'm
From
all
the
in.
movie. Yeah, so I had started a Legally Mom podcast with a couple of my girlfriends, Brenda and Zochi, and then we are all just so busy. That's
Yeah.
as lawyers and moms, and some of them are single moms, and everything. So it was just, we had a different friend that was also a lawyer helping us like edit it. And it was just a question of like logistics and our schedules and things like that. But yeah, it was a really good concept.
I mean, you're right. Everything needs to start out as a webisode. And I think, and
it's a big balance.
Any of those, you're right. You got to have a professional producer come in, their phone, and they just handle everything.
Otherwise, it's too much work. Like, I'm social media savvy. That's different than like editing a podcast. It's
but
really different.
I do think it would be a good concept.
Totally.
And I'm thinking, oh man, how can I make that happen? If you're watching the YouTube channel, make a comment like this and let us know if you love the idea. Legally Mom, they kind of follow Erica and her friends around, but it's moms, they're in charge. Lawyers. They're kind of, but then also she's settling arguments. But also, I mean, I think it would be cool if, whatever, if it's teen court or something that, some stuff like that.
Yeah, it would be. I'm really good with teenagers.
Actually, I think we should run you for JP judge here. I think you could be Justice of the Peace.
Let's do it.
I know.
Yes.
You can be my campaign.
I know.
But that means JP,
precinct 2, please.
Justice of the Peace, you can see everybody, you can see you grant bond and everything through that little screen to everyone in jail.
But Erica, you could be marrying people too.
I think people would love that.
I don't know. I think you're very marketable. I think, it's,
You can help me. Because this one doesn't.
A lawyer already can marry you.
Well, that's true. That is.
What do you mean I don't help? What is she saying?
She's kidding. That's the thing, She's kidding around.
I don't know, man.
She is kidding. I love Chuck so much. Now, that's what I think. I mean,
that's what George told me. Because when George was getting this set up,
yeah, because I didn't have any issue. You called me and I didn't expect the call, so I was like, in here, like I had an issue before.
But that's the thing. I mean, you're right. People, not everyone's going to love your
personality. I have no idea how you got a radio show.
I was listening to something from Joel Osteen, and he was sleeping. I love him, and I was like, this is something he needs to hear, not me. Because sometimes I'm like,
always everyone critiquing?
This was about you can only control your reactions.
Why don't we talk about how bad Russians' tanks are?
No. You're right. Our personalities are kind of strong, kind of fast. It's hard for us to.
But you can control your reactions, and that's what Joel was saying. It's like do better. Control yourself. Don't be like this. But that doesn't mean that you're going to
go become in complete control instantly 3 days later.
Not instantly, but you had to.
I would say don't. Let the situation control you. You control the situation.
Exactly. And you can't say, this is just me, I'm reactionary. I never said that. You have to do better.
I never said that. And so does everybody. So, and it takes two. And it always takes two people.
But that's not what the sermon was about. It was really cool. No, and I recorded it. He needs to listen to it.
He's another good example. He has some great messages.
Love him.
He has a huge fan. But there's
haters on him too. That's why I relate with him is that he gets equal amount of hate because people are jealous.
Well, and I got to tell you this. If I ever have anybody defame me on social media, Chuck, I'm calling you.
Yeah, he's aggressive.
I would like.
We'll just scare him and make him take it down.
The only person he can't scare is me, and that's what.
Well,
and
that's another thing is I'm going to pursue that niche.
I'm never trying to scare her.
We're going to pursue that niche on the social media, But I mean, we're going to get rich on that deal. Because I was I've wanted to start like a consulting firm.
They're easier to defend.
Yeah,
because when this happens, who do you call? There's no one really knows. Yeah, right.
I kept getting calls from Georgia yesterday, and I'm like, I don't understand. Are you trying to tell me there's not an entertainment lawyer in Georgia? No. Like, Georgia's like...
There are entertainment lawyers, but media is different. Social media is different. It's its own umbrella. There's plenty of entertainment lawyers that negotiate music deals and things like that.
If you're being attacked by someone online... like this video. We're going to talk about this
Rose
because
Sanders.
there has to
Sanders law firm.
Well,
like, for example,
I might be in on it too.
If a person posts on their Facebook and we get the geolocation and they post the defamation in Washington, but their home state is Houston, where do you bring the lawsuit?
I think there's a massive market for this.
Yeah, there really is, and I mean we're growing so fast.
So that's
you almost litigate the law yourself.
People don't really get to see only your friends and family that you're around. That's the thing. They don't get to see the real you. They just see little sound bites.
And I don't like that.
Right.
That's why I want to do my own thing. That's why through my social media, I try to have more of myself come out.
It's
but that's what I don't like about all of the reality shows I did, with the exception of this one VH1 thing I did called Your Cutoff. That was my fave.
Yeah.
But besides for that, it's like you don't get to see. You're always playing a character. Even this time, my friend that does this Australian podcast was like, Erica, you were pretty chill. But my good friend the other day was like, that's not my best friend. That's not the friend that I love that I got to see,
Right.
And I feel like when someone has so many layers, unless they're in control of their own show or producing it, you can't really see that. because there's so many different sides to people, you know, and I don't like that.
That is awesome. I know since we got a late start, we're going to have to start wrapping up here. But so here's my question. How was your experience on George's World compared to that podcast?
So much better.
Another Below Deck
We've
podcast.
had such a positive experience. I have, at least, on George's World. I love it.
I know. You guys.
You should edit that out. We don't want to give them
We
any
love George's
advertising.
World.
No,
right?
but then we can start an online war with them, and that'd be
we
good.
could.
Yeah.
This has been my favorite. When are you a May Gemini or a June Gemini?
I'm a May Gemini.
Same with this
May
character.
30th.
He's May 24th.
Yeah, May 30th. So I know.
What about your wife? Is she?
She's June 10th. So
So
Cancer.
she's on. Oh, she's
Cancer.
a Gemini too.
No, she's Cancer.
Oh, she's a Cancer.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cancer, like on the cusp. Or
Okay.
whatever, so
I'm an Aries, so I'm fiery, but
I know I'm into the signs. I have a
I'm into
really
it.
good
How about
app
you?
on here.
I don't know what
you
I
probably
am.
are an Earth sign. When's your birthday?
It's in September.
Earth sign, Virgo.
Late September.
Oh, so you're a Libra.
Okay.
My daughter, she's a Libra, Virgo. My dad's a Libra. I get along.
I have a Libra sign. Apparently, as like an ascendant.
what
That
is
means
this
I project
app?
myself as being peaceful, but I'm really nuts.
Astrology
course
Zone.
not.
That's the app
You-
I have.
Yeah.
It's really
And they
good.
took that little
Wait,
quote.
say
And they put that on the show too.
I saw.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that, and I was like, I heard you say that. And I was like,
He learned
What
it
was
from
that?
my astrologer.
oh,
But
really?
Name's
what they
her.
don't do is they don't actually like show the whole. If they showed the whole conversation, it wouldn't come off being like trying to make me look so bad.
Right.
They took the end
Of course. Well, speaking of George, can I ask one more question?
Yeah, and it was.
So let's talk about the steak.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they like really set you up on that one
So
on the show.
stupid.
Was it a good steak or was it not a good steak?
The only thing that was good was the first salad because there was just too much.
He didn't like the steak. The steak was average.
You don't
and
put
I said
sweet
no
sauce.
pink.
Like I don't know. Like it was
Yeah.
not. It wasn't. I could cook a better steak on my
Steaks are
garage.
hard. I know.
Now I order my steak
And in
well
the back
done,
of my
which I know is
garage.
weird, and everyone's
Oh,
like, "You
that's right.
basically like a hamburger." I'm like, "Whatever." But I had told him no pink, and then
Yeah.
he even said,
I get
like,
that.
"My bad."
I respect that when I cook for people, right? Because you have people
And we're
that
from-
have kind of a they're like, I don't want the pink. I can't take
And
the
we're
blood.
from
And you cook
Texas,
it.
so
And it's
I mean,
weird.
Texas people,
Yeah.
steaks is a
It's a big
religion
thing.
here.
People don't get
It's
that.
a religion here.
But I
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
agreed with Chuck. Like I saw that on the show and I was dying to ask that question
wasn't
because I was
very
like,
good.
I've seen people like smother it with lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And why do you do that?
Yeah, like when
Salt,
he grills
pepper,
a steak.
leave it alone.
I've never. I mean, if you go to a mix, even if you go to like, I've never had sweet sauce on a steak. Like
I
I've had
do, but-
I've had all kinds of other sauces on a steak, but sweet sauce. It kind
I've
of looks
had
like I don't want to
sweet.
eat candy in a steak.
He
You
gets
don't
offended
mix
if
my
he like
candy in
grills
the-
a steak and I'm like adding ketchup to it. And I'm
But
like,
you know, I think all those crew talking. I mean, you tip the show for them to sit there and talk bad
yes,
about it. and then
that's what I got mad about.
And I know.
You know?
I'm like, how do they even allow
and they're
people to do
like,
this?
A few of
That's
them
why it's so
were
fake.
nice, like Tom and Kelsey. They were cool. And if you had the option of tipping them separate, you would, but you
Yeah.
don't have that option.
I know, but for them to at the beginning of it, here you are, a paying
Yeah, it's
customer
so
coming. They're like,
rude.
oh, we should so. I mean,
I don't like that.
There's
so
one
when people
article
say
that-
apologize to them,
And they're
send
mad
them
at
more
you.
of a
They're
tip.
like-
It's like,
There's one
they're
article
like,
that calls
no.
me revenge. It's like Revenge of the Roses. It's like meet Chuck.
They're the ones that started out bad first.
They were talking
you know
trash
what I mean?
before they got even on.
Right. They're
So,
the one. They
if I could
launched-
go back, you know what I would have done? I would have gone with my clipboard and been like, your tip is right here. Every single time that, I'm going to take off $100. And I should have taken the almond. I should have thrown it against the wall.
No,
And if I could go
that
back,
would
I
have
would
been
done
too
that.
much. Like,
Not
less is
really.
more,
I think
honey.
it would have been even better because if I got this much backlash off like literally like 2 lines that I voluntarily gave because I didn't think the scene was dramatic. I didn't think I was being dramatic enough. I wanted to do it again. Next time I should have like if they're going to be like that, I would have walked out giving them nothing. I wouldn't have cared.
Okay.
All right, they got another live show
Also-
starting here.
All right.
We're going to do a
Follow
follow-up
us
show to
on
this.
Instagram.
Thank you guys so much. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
like our Facebook page, George's Show, Radio and Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, JJ. And then what about your Instagram?
My Instagram is at Erica the Rose
All right.
I'm at
Follow
Charles K. Sanders.
Charles K. Sanders.
and Rose Sanders Law.
And then Rose Sanders Law. We're going to see some big things with this social media law here. Guys, my co-host, Alan Gunn, thank you so much for coming. This has been an awesome show, guys. And
You basically saw like every single side of me all in an hour.
you're awesome.
That's
man.
awesome.
You're awesome. So, all right, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap. I'm just trying to think, were there any more questions? I think that's it. So,
No, that's it.
all right, thanks, guys, for listening.
Thank you,
we'll
guys.
see you this
Thank you
next
very much.
week. All right, thanks so much.
Bye.
Thanks.